My name is Jeremy Walton, and this is all about the DJI Osmo Pocket waterproof case that took forever to be released. Let's go! Before I get started on my review with some sample underwater footage, it's been a minute since my last upload, so let me do a quick recap of what I've been up to. I've done a lot of traveling lately that was a mix of work and pleasure, and this is how it all went down. I drove up to Modesto, which is my hometown, to visit some family and to shoot a project. I also had time to head over to San Francisco to fit in a Dodger-Giants game. Yeah, Dodgers lost. Back in the car and drove all the way down to San Diego for a few days with a nice hotel view, and definitely had my share of pina coladas. If you didn't know, I love a good pina colada. Next stop, Las Vegas, which is both fun and exhausting at the same time. Had some work to do, but enjoyed my stay, and of course, more pina coladas. From Vegas, it was a 12-hour drive all the way to one of my favorite spots, Yellowstone National Park. If you've never been, check out my video, Filmmaking in Yellowstone. This was my second time going, and I still didn't get to see everything. I took a lot more pictures this time that I will be posting to my Instagram soon, so go follow me if you're not already. Oh, you can do it right now. I'll wait. Minnesota was the last stop, so I hopped on a plane, and 3.5 hours later, despite a crazy storm, I was babysitting some dogs, which you will see later. They're so much fun, but they don't respect me whatsoever. Of course, I had to check out Target Field and watch the Twins play. A really cool stadium, had a cucumber mule for the first time, delicious, and watched a pretty extensive fireworks show. So that's what I've been up to, and right before I left for Minnesota, I received my DJI Osmo Pocket waterproof case, which worked out perfectly. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've heard of it, but if you have an Osmo Pocket and don't know what I'm talking about, here you go. This is DJI's website, and for $49, this case allows you to take the Osmo Pocket underwater up to 60 meters or about 196 feet. If you have no idea what the Osmo Pocket is, I did do 2 videos on it. One was the Osmo Pocket speed test, where I went 80 miles per hour with an ND filter on to see if I could knock it off. The other was the Osmo Pocket roller coaster review, where I went to Disney World and pretty much had a magical time. Check out both videos if you want to get more familiar with the Osmo Pocket. As for the case, I was a little skeptical at first, but I had to give it a try. Build quality is good, but that's something I expect from DJI. I've had good luck with their drones and gimbals, so I usually feel pretty comfortable with purchases like this. The waterproof case is basically a seal with an O-ring that you'll open up and slide in your Osmo Pocket. But first, insert this anti-fog strip. Don't forget this little guy. Make sure you have the newest firmware update, because the Osmo Pocket has a new underwater mode you have to activate first. Swipe down and to the left until you reach the last icon, power off, and then back on once it's in the case. Now let's go see what this bad boy can do. The dogs made it in the video. I really had no choice in that. For the sake of the review, I went straight in and crossed my fingers. I would suggest testing out the case first so you don't ruin your camera. It basically worked just like any other situation. Oh, and the dogs just wanted to attack it. The actual shape of the case felt good in my hand and didn't really take much time to adjust to it. It was point and shoot, and that's how it has to be when trying to film these dogs. Boom. Yeah, he knocked it out of my hand. But just to clear things up, no dogs or Osmo Pockets were harmed in the filming of this video. Overall, the footage turned out great, and I had a lot of fun. I don't film underwater a lot, so this was something new with the Osmo Pocket that I'll definitely do more often, as long as this troublemaker isn't around to rile these dogs up. Then right when I was packing up, my nieces and nephews stopped by, so I had to be a good uncle and keep that camera rolling. It's hard being the cool uncle, but so worth it. Now for the bad and some of my thoughts. As we know, this screen is small. Out of the water, I've never really had an issue with the small screen. But underwater, in a case, while wearing goggles with light pouring in, bubbles from jumping in, and from people, from animals, the screen becomes really hard to see. You may have noticed this in the video when it comes to the framing. At times it was a little high or a little low. That's because for a second, I was just guessing. I couldn't see the screen well enough to judge the frame. One other issue is you can't make any adjustments on the fly. I like keeping my shutter on manual and setting it to double the frame rate using ND filters. If you do this, let's say it becomes overcast or you swim into a shaded area. Any changes you want to make, the Osmo Pocket has to come out. The last thing is the actual seal, and it's going to be up to you to make sure it's on properly. And if you've ever messed with any kind of jar or even a bottle of water, sometimes you think it's on, but not quite. And with water, not quite will ruin your camera. Just be careful. Overall, this was a pretty easy and inexpensive way to turn your Osmo Pocket into an underwater rig. However, if you do plan on shooting underwater a lot, it might be a good idea to purchase an Osmo Action or a GoPro. They both have their plus and minuses, and as a filmmaker, it's up to you to make those important purchase decisions. It would be nice to buy anything and everything, but most of the time you have to prioritize and decide what works best for you. So if you've been debating, maybe this video can make your decision a little easier. Well, there you have it, the DJI Osmo Pocket underwater case. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button because there's definitely more on the way. Subscribe so you don't miss out. But until then, comment below if you've been shooting video underwater and let me know how it's been going. And as for this episode, it's a wrap.